Good morning, happy Saturday, and wow, I just realized my hair looks absolutely fabulous right now. Yeah, so don't worry, the title of this video is going to make a lot more sense after I explain it. And don't worry, it has nothing to do with whatever you're thinking it is. Oh, I didn't even really get a chance to say what it is. Well, I actually thought long and hard about uh, particularly, yesterday. And, with the Big Bang Theory having ended, with Star vs. the Forces of Evil and Game of Thrones ending tomorrow, and obviously with Avengers Endgame having just been released in the theaters and will most likely finally be the movie that beats James Cameron's Terrible 2 at the box office overall, I got to thinking, and it goes back to something I said when I did my movie reaction of Avengers Endgame. What signifies a truly great, significant, satisfying ending for a person in terms of something they watch or read or whatever? And because of, and is there like a bar? Is there like a limit? Is there sort of like a summit that you could reach for this? Well, to further explain what I'm talking about, I should probably get into like my overall opinions on such a thing. I'm the kind of guy who is really into the whole, like, if you're going to do like a top 10 or top however many, you want to start off with, your least and end with your best. Saving the best for last, if you will. And, you see that sort of thing a lot. Like, a baseball team ends a game with like their cleanup hitter, or I don't know, or a football team wants to save their best play for, winning a football game, stuff like that. So I thought long and hard about it, of the many shows and movies and stuff like that I've seen over the course of my 29 years of living. And, I would think to myself, wow, stuff like that ended like prematurely, or stuff like that didn't have the ending that it should have gotten. But then you have those select few, actually it is increasing to more now, that end on the best possible note. You can't think of a way that ended better. You can't do anything else to facilitate the story. Like, this is it. This is the best it's ever going to get, or whatever. And so, in the beginning, I would think back to, like, the biggest sort of conclusion or finale that I had seen, and how just grand and spectacle it was. And if you guys also remember in my Avengers movie reaction, I said that even though we'll never get an ending that's as big as, Avengers Endgame, which is actually my summit, by the way, in terms of, what I alluded to earlier, we were going to see flashes. So I thought long and hard again to all the shows and all the movies I had seen over, the many years. And so we actually did get quite a few flashes. I mean, granted, there are some things I didn't watch when it first was on, or there are some things that I'm just simply not interested in. But I would like to say that we've had flashes. And keep in mind, my summit obviously was never at Avengers Endgame. I'm doing that. Not even. Like, originally, the very first time, believe it or not, was Lord of the Rings. And I know, well, you probably think, well, Nick, Lord of the Rings was just 3 movies. Some shows and stuff like that go for many, many years. Well, yes, but some of those shows existed like long before I was born. In fact, the biggest one that comes to mind for people older than my generation is probably MASH. So, in terms of like a truly great, finale to a show. And I'm sure there are a few others, before, my generation came along. So I would think to myself, okay, what have I seen throughout my life that, is truly a great ending that you truly think is the best part of the show, or movie, or movie franchise or whatever. Like, what is the best? Well, again, it started off with Lord of the Rings, and understand, I am not a reader. I do not like books are my kryptonite, okay? I touch a book and my hand almost is lit on fire. It's that bad. But, it was the movies that I was watching. Obviously, the movies are never as good as the book. True, but movies actually provide a visual medium in which I see that, I can tell what's going on, that's great. That's exactly what I want. So when you get to Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, which looking back on it was the best movie I saw that year, and also is no surprise why it won the Academy Award for Best Picture that year. That was it. Like, that was about as good as it got. And again, throughout my life, I would see shows that did have good endings. I saw, I'm trying to think, like, some really good finales of shows came out, like Friends and Gilmore Girls and That 70s Show. Those are truly great, satisfying endings. But I never thought about making the comparison of, like, this is the greatest sort of ending to a franchise or a series or a movie or whatever that I'm ever going to see until 2011, when I saw Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Sorry, something caught my throat and I'm trying to fight it off. I'm sorry. And then I thought, I saw 10, 11 years worth of Harry Potter movies for an ending this grand. I'm just never going to see anything that's better. I'm just not. That's why I hold Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, even though it did start the whole Part 2 shtick. It started that. But that's why it's so important. Harry Potter, keep in mind, again, I'm not a reader. I never read the Harry Potter books. But throughout those 10 or 11 years, I saw these characters like grow and develop and go through all these adventures and stories. That was great. That's exactly what I wanted to see. So, and again, we have seen some flashes of this in shows and movies. Again, the Kung Fu Panda and the How to Train Your Dragon trilogies. The Back to the Future, that's one. In terms of shows, Ed, and Eddie, they had Ed, and Eddie's Big Picture Show. That's a great one. I might actually watch that again. Or, even some standalone movies have great scenes that you feel the finality of it all. A really great one, and honestly, one of my all-time favorite, movie scenes ever. The, scene in Mary Poppins where Mr. Banks is walking to, the bank, and you sort of hear the chorus of Feed the Birds, which, by the way, Feed the Birds is definitely a song I listen to when I want to have a good cry, I'm just saying. So, they're there. And, again, in fact, it was because of, this whole concept of finality and, the best that you see for the end, which is why ever since around, 2011, I really started paying attention to like the best movie that I would see that year. 2011 was Deathly Hallows Part 2. 2012, Django Unchained. 2013, Dallas Buyers Club. 2014, Snowpiercer. 2015, Mad Max Fury Road. Like, things just kept building up and building up. And to fill that sort of fantasy genre void, we had the MCU, which just ended with Avengers Endgame. Which, again, that right there is practically my summit. And again, I said, we're never going to get another finale or anything like this ever again. But we will see flashes. And even leading up till then, we had, Samurai Jack, Avatar The Last Airbender, and The Legend of Korra. Those are all great finales to shows. So, all of this being said, it does beg the question, will anything ever be as good as Avengers Endgame? Or Deathly Hallows Part 2? Or something of that sort of like, of that magnitude? Well, I believe it will. In fact, I believe it is going to come in the form of a boy wearing a straw hat. That's right, folks. I am that certain that when One Piece finally ends, we're going to get that feeling again. Funny enough, one guy I watch on YouTube is called the Grand Line Reviews. And yesterday he came out with a video, which was actually the very inspiration for this video, about why he doesn't come up with theories. Because, One Piece has been going on for 2 decades at this point. People are going to come up with theories and what have you. I'll put a link to that video in the description below. But basically the gist of it is, one of the main reasons why he doesn't come up with theories is because, well, for one, you're going to find content like that all over the internet, so why bother? 2, if he does come up with a theory and he's wrong, not only is that video worthless, but, you're going to get made fun of. Or 3, and no kidding, I swear this would happen to me, say that you do come up with a theory, and you're right about it. It's great, and you do get bragging rights, but in the end, you realize, gosh, darn it, I just spoiled it for myself. So, yeah. It's why I don't come up with theories on One Piece either. I mean, sure, I'd love to be able to do that, and, that'd make for good content for making videos every day. But again, those reasons and more are why I don't do it. But through it all, I have come up with one theory and one theory only. And that's One Piece, when it finally ends, it will be as emotionally satisfying, emotionally significant, and overall well worth the wait as Avengers Endgame and Deathly Hallows Part 2. In fact, it's my solemn hope that we get that. It's also my solemn hope that pretty much every show and, movie that I mentioned that you all go see, preferably after watching this video, because you're going to be very entertained when you do. So, like, favorite, share, and hit that subscribe button. Follow me on the social media platforms. I am humbled I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. I'm hoping that we have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. And remember, if any of you guys ever want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear. I will always have your back. Take care and make good choices.